Hi, how are you? My name is Pete, and in this video I'm going to show you 3 best ways, in my opinion, of farming the element in ARK. So before we start, I just want to say all the footage you're going to see is recorded in single player on one-time gathering. So if you have better gathering rates, of course you're going to gather more element. Also, the third way I'm going to show you is kind of situational. It really depends on your server settings, but I'm going to explain once we get to that. So the first method I want to show you is on the map extinction. And all you need for that is basically metal pick, and you go anywhere in the city and you can farm element dust from all the metal structures like lampposts, benches and all that kind of stuff. However, you can also use RG and Dodec to make that job a little bit simpler. And the way you do that, you just jump on your RG, you pick up the Dodec and you get close enough to any of those metal structures and the Dodec will collect it. Now be prepared to clean his inventory every so often because you're gonna have tons of crystals. And also a little tip in case you didn't know, when you use the flyer, when you use that method, you can press X when you're flying to kind of stop the flyer from flying forward. So it's kind of like a brake pedal for the flyers. Now once you collect enough element dust, you have two options. You can either craft the element out of element dust in your inventory, but the downside of that is that it will slow you down. As long as you're crafting it, your movement is way slower. However, the second option is you can use any of the city terminals and just put all your element dust there and craft it from there. That way it's not crafting any quicker. However, of course it won't slow you down, so that's the biggest advantage of that option. Now the second way I'm going to show you, which in my opinion is probably the best way if you playing on default settings, and it's also on the map extinction, and it's basically farming the element veins. The downside to that is that they're random generated event and you can't force it to spawn. So basically you can only do them when they're available, and also there's 3 different levels of them. The higher the level, the higher the difficulty, but also you get the bigger amount of element out of it. So that's how they look. And you can tell which level they are by using your spyglass and just checking their health. So it's easy if their health is 10,000, it's medium if the health is 25,000, and it's hard if the health is 50,000. As you can see here, I have a 50,000 one, so that's the best one. It's also the hardest one to do. Now you can use any dino you wish, any dino you're the most comfortable with. However, I would strongly recommend to use Velonozar or Managarmar. The reason being, you can use their special attack and that way you're not causing any damage to any of the nodes. Like you can damage the nodes if you're using like Giga or Rex. You can damage the nodes, and once they get damaged they disappeared, which prevents you from being able to farm them after you finish the event. Also, Velonozar is very good at taking down the flyers like wyverns or pteranodons, so it makes the job a little bit easier. Now roughly the hard difficulty takes me about on average about 15-20 minutes, depends, so it does take a while. However, it's definitely worth it. Now once the event is finished, you're ready to farm it. Now I would strongly recommend to use the mantis for that. Now the mantis should have a lot of levels into the melee damage, that way you get more resources from each node, and on top of it, it's also good if you have higher rarity of metal pick, which also affects the amount of resources you get from the nodes. And I would also suggest you use some kind of transport dino, like I use gas bags in this case, but you can use whatever you feel like. And keep in mind that you have to clear out the small nodes first, because the biggest node you have to leave for the last. The second you clear out the biggest node, all the other nodes just disappear and you won't be able to farm them. And as you can see, just from clearing that one event that, as I said before, took me about 20 minutes, I get over 500 element and over 12,000 of element dust, which would transfer it into additional 12 element if you like, and also a little bit over 1,000 of element shards, which you can also transfer it into element. And as I said before, keep in mind that that's on one times gathering on default single player settings. Now the last method I want to show you is a little bit situational, and let me explain why. So first of all, it's on the map Genesis, and it's on the volcanic biome. Now the easiest way to get to that spot that I'm going to talk about is to use your mission tracker. So you go into your mission tracker and you pick the mission extraction. And then you just follow the marker until you get there. Now once you get there, you will notice that just beside it, there is a cave entrance. Now you shouldn't expect many enemies there, like usually might be the odd scorpion or arthropolera or something like that, but nothing super dangerous. And you just follow the path down until you see on your right the lava waterfall. And this is the spot that I'm talking about. And this spot is very good because you don't really have many enemies spawning here. Like you might get the odd magmasaur, but it never happened to me that I would have more than one here. Majority of the time there is none. So all you want to do here, you want to farm those red crystals. On top of it, you can also farm the black pearl. So the best dino to do that with is Anki. And as you can see, Anki is getting pretty decent amount of element shards. However, you will have to clean his inventory every so often because he will gather crazy amount of stones. Now the reason why I said this method is very situational is because it depends on your server settings on how quickly your resources refresh. Because out of all the places that those red crystals spawn, that's the only safe place where you can safely farm all those crystals without being attacked every single time. So if your refresh rate are high enough, you can farm this place over and over again. However, if your refresh rate are not high enough, you can farm those red crystals from other locations just around the corner from it, although it will be way more dangerous. As you can see here, there's plenty of red crystals. However, there's also plenty of magmasaurs, which there will be pain to deal with. And as you can see from clearing that little lake from those red crystals, I got about 7,500 of element shards, which you can transfer into 75 element. On top of it, I'll give you a little tip about collecting black pearls in the same location. As you can see here, if I'm collecting them using my hand, I'm getting about 18-19 black pearls per clam. However, if I use mining drill on the same clams, I'm getting about 27-25 black pearls per clam. So these are my 3 favorite methods of collecting element in ARK. I understand there's way more different methods. If you have any other favorite ones, please don't hesitate to leave the comment in the comment section and let the others know what is your favorite way of collecting element. Now I hope you find this video useful. If you did, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.